So let us get into the string category functions where we use those for manipulating the functions. If you run show functions, there are n number of functions, and out of them, some of them are related to string-based functions. So based upon my past experience, these are the important functions which we typically see. And before actually getting into string-based functions, I want to create a new table called customers as per our data model. Okay. So here you can see this is the data model, and this is the script which will create the customers table and also load data from local file system into the table customers. You can see customer ID is integer, and rest of this stuff are varchar of different sizes. Even though we are actually specifying as varchar as data type, these are all informational. Internally, all these alphanumeric data types will be represented as string only. Okay, so I will be running this to create the table and also to load the data, and we will be using the string functions on top of it to explore. So some of the important string functions are substring or substring, substr or substring. There is a function called instring, and then like to do pattern matching. For regular expressions, if you are familiar with regular expressions, you can use r-like. Okay, and then there is the length. Okay, there is L case. Let me see if it is L case or lowercase. U case for uppercase and L case for lowercase, and also you have upper and lower. Okay, I think L case is also for converting it into lowercase or lower, U case or upper. And let me see if there are any, yeah, trim. In trim again, there is L trim, R trim, and then we have L pad, R pad. So these are the most frequently used string functions. There might be more, but these are the ones which you should learn before you get to the certification, so that you can use them effectively. So let's start with substring or substr. So to explore on and first test it out, we can use select substr and then blah blah blah. But before getting into that, let us see the syntax. So describe function substr or even substring. You can see both of them, syntax and semantics is same. Syntax is a bit different. There are three additional characters, but semantics is same. Number of arguments, it takes 3. So for example, in case of hello world, how are you? Okay, from this string, let's say I want to get how are you as the substring. So the syntax says select substring or substr and then the string itself. So this is the string on which I want to test. And then the second argument is position. Okay, so position from where you want to extract the substring. In this case, I want to read this. So I need to identify the position of position where I have to start. So it's the position starts with 1. So 1 gives H, 5 gives O, 6 gives space, and 11 gives D, 12 gives comma, 13 gives space, and 14 is the position for start of how are you. So I can say 14. And if I do not pass the additional optional argument, which is defined as part of the square brackets, which is nothing but length, it will just read till the end. You can get how are you from hello world, how are you, by just saying the position of uh, how are you, the position where how are you starts. Okay, and uh, and if you just want to extract how or world from this hello world or how are you, I can say 6 is the position for world, and I just need 5 characters from 6 so that I extract world. So I can give 5 here and hit enter. Sorry, it's actually 7th character. W is 7th character. Okay, now you can see world. Similarly, if you want to read a substring from the end, for example, you have multiple records of different length, and you want to just extract last 3 characters. What I can do is, instead of struggling about each and every record to read from the beginning, I can also read from the end by using negative. So if I say -1, it is this one, -2 is this one, -3 is this one. So if I want to get last 3 characters, I can say -3. Okay, if I want to get R from this last 7 characters, what I can do, -7, comma 3. That will give the R. So this is how you can get this substring you want from the data. Okay. So that being said, now let us get into other functions. In string will give the position of a particular string, the first occurrence of particular character or string within the data. For example, if I want to get the first occurrence of space, what I can do is I can say select instr and give the space. Or if I want to get the occurrence of a string such as world, I can just say world like this. And the thing, the substring using which you are trying to get the position of that string has to exactly match of what you are what you have in the original string, and it will only get the first occurrence of that string. So the first occurrence of world is 7. Okay, and also that is how you use in string. So before getting into other list of functions, there is another function called split, which is again used against string, and you should be familiar with that also. Okay, and now if you want to check if a particular string is part of the pattern or not, there is a like. Okay, and if you look at the syntax, this is a bit this is a documentation bug. Described format, described function like. If you say it says like in bracket string and pattern. So if I say select like hello world, and if I say hello and semicolon and hit enter, it is complaining. So I learned that there is a documentation bug here. If anyone want to get some traction to your profile, you can raise the Jira ticket if it is not already there and get it resolved. So instead of using that way, like is pretty powerful command, and sometimes we want to compare whether that string is there or not. So instead of using like that, give the main string or main column, hello world, how are you, and then like, you can put either in single quotes or double quotes. Single quotes is the better practice when it comes to databases. So I want to check whether this pattern is there. So it returns false because even the use like, if I do not use any special characters, it will just compare whether both are equal or not. So to actually get the patterns, you have to use this percentage notation. And then if the string starts with hello, it returns true. If the string doesn't start with hello, it returns false. So in this case, instead of hello, I will just say world. Because it doesn't start with world, it returns false. But if you say percentage world percentage, it will return true because there is a string within hello world, how are you, which matches world. Okay, that is how you can use like. If you are familiar with regular expressions, instead of using like, you can use are like. And you can give a lot more complex patterns to your data. R like works at different in different manner. You should not specify like this. Instead, you have to use something like this, A to Z, and I do not remember on top of my head. And regular expression in itself is a special topic, and I don't want to get into too many details at this time. So if you are already familiar with regular expressions, some people are very passionate about it. You can actually get most of your problems solved easily by using R like. If you just want to compare strings using regular expressions and return true or false based upon the pattern matching. And then length, to get the length of the string. So in this case, if I just want to get the length, it's quite obvious. It takes one parameter, one argument, and it will give the number of characters in it if the argument is of type string. So we can get the length of the string. If you want to compare the cases, so in this case it's in mixed case. If you want to convert into lowercase, it is also quite obvious. But if you want, you can actually use describe function to get the syntax. Same is the case with L case. It's a guess. I never used L case in traditional databases, but it's a guess and it's correct. If you want to convert into uppercase, everything into uppercase instead of mixed case, you can say U case or upper. Okay, so these are the functions which you can use. Also, traditional functions have, so traditional databases have, some of the databases, not all, they have init cap, in which each and every word's first character will be converted to uppercase. I'm just checking whether this have, yes, there is the init cap also. Okay, so I will add that as well, init cap, another important function. So if you have multiple words and if you want to make sure that each word starts with capital letter, you can use init cap. Okay, and then trim and trim, ltrim and rtrim are primarily to suppress spaces or whatever character you pass. Let me see the syntax first before making any assumptions. So describe function trim and hit enter. So it only removes leading and trailing space characters from string str. So in some traditional databases, if you use trim, you can also pass additional optional parameter which will actually facilitate you to choose a character which can be trimmed. In some cases, it need not be spaces always. It can be some other character, and if you just want to trim those things, you can use that. But in case of Hive, they only support with spaces. So in this case, for example, you have a string which have spaces in the beginning and the end, and it only trim the spaces at the beginning and the end. It will not trim the string between the words. Okay, now you can say trim hello world. You can see the space is gone. If it is not quite obvious to you, you can also use length of trim. So you can actually nest the functions. You can pass the result of one function to another function like this. And you can see it is still 11. But the original length is hello world is itself is 11 characters, and there's one character at the end and there's one character at the beginning. The original one is 13 characters, but the output is only 11 characters. If you want to just trim the right space, you can use R trim. If you want to just trim left space, you can use um, L trim. Sometimes, especially when you're dealing with numbers, you might want to pad zeros in the beginning or whatever character you want. Okay, sometimes you want to do that just to sort the data in string format. For example, if you have 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 12 as your data, and if the data is represented in string format, then and if you try to sort, it will be sorted like this. Okay, to address this issue, either we have to cast the string to number. So there is one more function called cast, which I will add to the list. That is one option which you can use. And the second option is you can use lpad command because I want to pad zeros before before 1, 2, and 3 if they are so that the data is sorted properly. So let us see the syntax of lpad here. Describe function lpad. Lpad is more frequently used than rpad. And rpad just append on the right hand side, lpad appends on the left hand side. So for example, if I use, let's say, lpad 12, and the overall length has to be only 2 characters. So I gave the length as 2, and the padding character is space, and hit enter. Because 12 is already, sorry, padding character I want to use 0. As 12 is already 2, the length of 12 is already 2, which matches this. It haven't done anything. But if I just say 2 instead of 12, because the length of this string, or in this case number, is 1, now as it is less than the length, whatever the difference is, for those difference, it actually adds zeros. You can see here, even though we passed 2, because there is 1 character missing, it just added 1 0. If I just say the length as 12, there will be 11 zeros and 2. If we do it for 12, in this case, it will add 10 zeros before 12, so that the overall length matches this. So that is the how you can use lpad. Primarily, we will use lpad to sort string data if it have numbers, and if we have to get it properly, then we use lpad. And also when we actually deal with the dates, sometimes we use lpad. Okay, just to make sure that for January to till now September, we get additional 0 if we want to represent data in the form of numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and there is the alternative way also. Instead of using lpad like this, if the data is represented as strings, for example, you have a string called 12, and if you want to cast it into number, what you can do is you can say select cast of the string as int. So here I'm trying to type convert the data type into its original format, which is of type int, and you can use it. So the use of this is, for example, in this case, let's look at orders data. You have these 4 columns. You have order date, right? So order date from orders limit 10. You have these 10 records. I just want to extract this part, and I want to typecast it into number. So what I can do is I can use substring. Okay, and then I want to get 6th and 7th character. So starting from 6, I want to get 2 characters. The data type of this are strings. That's why you are seeing 07. If I typecast it into number, saying like this, cast as int. Now that number will be returned as integer, not string anymore. So cast is the function which you can convert data type of string to their original types if it is applicable. Otherwise, it will just give null. In this case, if you just give some special character, alphanumeric characters. So let's say select cast hello as int. Hello is originally string, so it cannot be casted. That's why it returned null. Okay. So on top of this, you also have split function where it will convert a string into an array based upon a delimiter. So here split hello world, how are you? In this case, I will be using space as delimiter, and you can see that hello world, how are you string is converted into a list. Okay, and if you want to access elements in the list, it's not a string function, but still I'm covering because they are closely related. You can just say index, and the index starts with 0. So if I just want to get last one, I can say comma 4. Index array comma 4. So it will give the last element in the list. If you want to get the first element in the list, you just use 0. So these are very important string functions which you need to know at least before getting into certification, so that you can solve some of the problems leveraging the knowledge of these functions. Like this, there are other categories also, and we will see those as we proceed further.